Welcome, 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 and a Merry Christmas to you all. I decided that it would be good this year to do my own Queen's speech because I'm arrogant enough to think that you need to be up to date on what's happening. No, all joking aside, it's been a crazy year, and I wanted to uh, just note and address some of it and thank you all for some of it, and then also tell you what my plans are for next year. So, um, just at the start, the the first 8 months of the year, really, Dan Lasac and I were doing our last ever tour, and we did our last ever show at Festival, and it was overwhelming. Having done this together for 8 years or so, it was amazing to get that last show and that last crowd at Festival that had thousands and thousands of people all there to see us off. And even as the 8 months leading up to that was our biggest tour, our biggest crowds. I mean, in most places we went, it was the biggest crowd we'd ever played to in that place. So it was amazing to get that reaction and the general reaction to that last album, Repent, Replenish, Repeat, which again to have a third album is amazing in itself, but to get to have a third album that goes down the best of all your records and kind of and get just getting to go out on such a high was amazing. We did a lot of videos for that record, all directed by myself and Thomas Coles. And again, another reason it was amazing to go out on such a high. We won our first ever award as Dan Lasac versus Scroobius Pip. We won an AIM award for best video. So for You All See Me. So that was amazing. Again, just highlights how crazy a year and the support that you guys have given us this year has been absolutely amazing. Also, I mean, a few months before that, I'd been doing my radio show on XFM, The Beatdown, for just over a year with Dan Rido, my producer, and we won a silver and a gold prize at the Radio Academy Awards, and that was equally amazing because, yeah, we kind of were just making up as we went along. So these sound like odd things or sound like brags, but you got to understand that up until this year, I'd literally never won a single award. So to get two such coveted and important to me awards was amazing. So that was great. Also this year, I got to release the Sage Francis album and the War and Peace album on my label, Speech Development Records, and that is equally insane. Sage Francis is one of the reasons I do this. He's a friend now, and I went on tour with him as well this year and just helped him out on his tour, and it was amazing to be part of that. But I was going to Sage shows when he was first coming over to the UK and when I was first starting out writing, so it's amazing to get to release him on my label. And War and Peace as well, with such an amazing album that got in their debut album, and it got in the Banquet Records Top 100 and stuff like that. So amazing to get to do. I also got to release my Edinburgh Fringe show, which again, it sounds like I'm just advertising now. I'm not. That meant a lot to me because I did that all through my own website. We decided that instead of going through iTunes and Amazon and all this, we'd sell direct to you guys and therefore save a load of money for you guys. So you can download it from the website for just a £5, or you can buy the DVD for it's 15 now. But yeah, 2 DVD set with all the videos on and stuff like that. So again, I mean, this isn't a plug or an advert. Forget about that. You don't need to go and buy it. I'd imagine if you're interested, you've already got it. But what needs to be addressed is the support that you guys gave, because that was downloaded hugely and supported hugely, and the tweets and Facebook updates and everything you gave were amazing. And then on to, I'm probably going to leave things out, but I started doing my podcast at the tail end of this year after the speech development tour, which again I could go on about for hours. The support, the turnouts were insane, considering it's Dolan's first time over in years. It's the first time War and Peace have ever toured, yet we had sold out crowd after sold out crowd. So that was amazing. But yeah, I got to start my podcast, which again, another endeavour that I kind of get to start with no expectation, and you guys get kind of turn it into something huge and exciting for me. So I started that, and it's just me. It's just me and a little mixing desk. I don't have a producer or a studio or an assistant or anything like that. I just turn up and I record these things, and they've gone down amazingly. You got us to #1 in the iTunes chart, above Serial, which is what every article is being written about in the podcast world this year, and rightfully so. I've heard it's amazing. I've not actually listened to it myself, but I'm going to. But the fact that we got to #1 for like a few days above them is just insane, because everything else in that top 10 seems to be either BBC or Channel 4 or some kind of big production company. So thank you for all the support in that. I'm now going to address what my plans are for next year, because I kind of touched upon this here and there, but not announced it officially. But I plan to not go on stage at all in 2015. There's going to be a lot of people now ready to get mad and say, "Oh, I want to see you," but the reality is, in the last 8 years, I've not had a single year where I've done less than 100 shows, and most years it's been comfortably over 100 shows. And there's a lot of things there. I think #1, I like the idea of not being as readily available for a while, so that when I do step back on stage, it means all the more. I also want to make sure I'm still appreciative of it all. I did a show this year with Robin Ince, who I do these shows every year with Robin Ince at Christmas. It's amazing. It's with Robin Ince and Professor Brian Cox and Stuart Lee and Josie Long and Sarah Pascoe and The Cure this year with special guests. So many good people. Ben Goldacre. And yeah, it was at Hammersmith Apollo, and I realised I'm stepping out to do spoken word in front of 3,500 people, and it was amazing, but I didn't feel particularly nervous or buzzed before or after. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't know. I just think a year not on stage is going to be interesting, but don't worry, I'm not taking a year off to rest. There's going to be a lot of things I'm going to do, and I'm going to tell you about a few of them now. I'm going to be working on a new solo record. I'm going to take my time with that. I was trying to rush to get it done by the end of 2014, and then I realised, nah, this has to be the best. This has to be strong. I've got some drums already off Travis Barker. I've got Danny Lona working away on some stuff. Wes Borland is hopefully jumping in on some bits. So a lot of people I'm hoping to work with and make something exciting there. What's that? Is that glitter? No, it's just soap. Yeah, so that's high on the priority list. Obviously, the Distraction Pieces podcast I'm going to continue to do. The guests I've got lined up there are insane. I've got people like Stuart Lee, Billy Bragg, Frank Turner, Josie Long. Just an endless list of exciting people. So I'll wait to get more of them done and keep it all exciting for you lot. I've just finished a third draft on a little one-off TV thing for the BBC, a 15-minute story between two people. That's going to be, I'll be working on more drafts of that, but that's going to be out the first half of next year. So that's exciting. I want to do more of that kind of thing too. I'm excited. The prospect of not stepping on stage kind of makes me feel, it frees me up to try a few different areas and a few different things whilst working on the next record. So I've got that. I'm also I'm finishing off a documentary me and Tom Coles shot a couple of years ago. I've been editing that myself. I'm hoping to get a final edit of that and see how we can release it, how well we can put it and tour it, and hopefully get it in cinemas. So that's exciting. Also hugely exciting. I'm not sure I'm allowed to tell anyone about this yet, but in the new year, I'm going to be hosting a show, a sports show. I literally don't think I'm allowed to announce it yet, but it's for a company and sport that I'm a big fan of. So yeah, watch this space. In case I'm not meant to have announced it, I'm not going to say the exact initials of the company, but that's exciting. Yeah, and that's kind of, I think that's everything. There's a few other ideas. I've got a web show idea I want to see if it's realistic to try and do. I'm going to speak to a few people about. But yeah, that's kind of it. It's going to be a hectic year of working on. Oh shit, the B Dolan album. I mean, that's another reason. I'm not saying I've pushed my own album back because I'm scared to try and go head to head with the B Dolan record, but I've heard the almost finished version of the B Dolan record, and I'm not envious of anyone who's trying to release a rap record next year, because the word game changer is thrown around a lot, but damn, I know a lot of you are B Dolan fans already, and rightfully so, but this is him taking it up a notch, and it's sounding amazing. So yeah, I'll be releasing that on the label. Hopefully there'll be new material from War and Peace. Numerous other things that I want to support and get behind. I know the guys from War and Peace are working on some stuff for Natasha Fox, who was on my record and on the War and Peace record. Not saying I'm going to manage to sign that to Speech Film, just saying that's an exciting thing ahead in the next year as well that I'll be keeping an eye on, and kind of it's all in that family. So yeah, I think that's everything. I'm going to be spending next year writing scripts and working on scripts, doing the thing for the BBC, doing the hosting thing that I might not be able to tell you about yet, doing the Distraction Pieces podcast, and most importantly of all, making hopefully my best record. That's kind of the motivation. I don't know if this is going to be my last record. Obviously, me and Dan Lassac did our last record last year. I'm excited to do my third solo record, and I like the idea of at least ending it there for a while, kind of going, here we go, you've got 3 solo records, 3 records with Dan Lassac, and a load of other little spoken word bits and stuff like that. That's enough from me for a bit. I think I'm not someone who's got this overwhelming belief that people need to keep hearing his voice. I say 12 minutes and 30 odd seconds into an unnecessary announcement video. But yeah, I mean, that in my mind, this might be my last record and recordings and stuff like that. So I'm all the more adamant that it has to be the best. And some of the stuff I've written so far for it, I'm insanely excited about. And it's going to be hard to hold it off and take time on that, but it's kind of the nature of the game. I think it's time to experiment with that. I think a lot of people are going the route of release, a mixtape, demo, album, all sorts of stuff like that, and that's cool. But I think what I've seen with the Distraction Pieces podcast is the way of information getting across had gone the route of short bursts on YouTube, tiny little 2-minute, 3-minute, 90-second, 1-minute things, and a 60 to 90-minute podcast of information goes against that, yet it's gone down insanely well. So I'm thinking the idea of going against the current nature of you need to keep releasing and keep in people's ears. I think maybe me and Dolan and Sage have all talked about this, that sometimes taking time off to actually live a little bit, learn a little bit, have more to write about, decide what you're wanting to write about rather than just talk into a microphone. Maybe that's the way to go. So anyway, I'll be doing the club night and the film night as well. That's other things I'll keep my time with. I've got my We Are Lizards club night at the book club. That's still our home and I love it there, but we're there every other month, and the other month we're about to launch at the Distillery in Camden, which is the new venue owned by Vice. So hugely excited about that. And my film night at the Prince Charles Cinema, I mean, I can't even claim that's work. That's my excuse to get to watch films I want on a big screen. So yeah, there's kind of loads to keep busy with. Although I won't be stepping on stage, I'm going to be working as hard as I always work, and I'm going to be giving you as much stuff as I possibly can, and trying to aim towards a lot of free stuff, really. Stuff like the podcast, where sponsors are taking the brunt, hopefully, of paying for what is needed to do that. Things like the show on BBC, it's the BBC, you get to watch that for free. The one-off thing, it's not a show, and things like that. So trying to spend a year of hopefully cobbling together a wage, but doing a lot of stuff you can get for free. And then also, as I said, you can still come and hang out and catch up at the club night and the film night and all that. This is already far too long. The Queen has finished her speech now, so I mean, maybe I'll be catching a few people who watched the Queen's speech, then turned over to catch the end of this, but probably not. It's been a bit of a letdown. So yeah, I'm going to end by saying a big thank you to everyone who's supported this year. Obviously, huge love to Dan Lassac. That's my priority on the end of year messages here, because we've just ended 8 insane years that have changed both of our lives immeasurably. So yeah, and big shout out and love to everyone who's supported, who's all the crew and everyone who helped out on the tours, and you lot that have made the tours a success, the podcast a success, the radio show a success, the videos a success. Just everything is kind of, it sounds sappy, but it's all kind of down to you. So hopefully you'll keep supporting, and there's a lot of exciting new things in the new year, and hopefully none of you will be too mad about the fact I don't plan on stepping on stage in 2015. There will be people saying, why, you know, in the last 8 years we've done numerous trips to all around the UK, Europe, Ireland, America, Japan, everywhere. We've covered them all. I do plan on doing more gigs, but just not. Just gonna have to wait, and it's gonna be more exciting for you and for me. So see you in 2015, but not on stage. Merry Christmas, everybody.